All right. I want to take a second to welcome Professor Ryan with us. What we're going to be doing is looking in Session 2 at the Perceptions and Culture presentation required for this class for Colorado Christian University. Welcome, Professor Ryan, with us today. What we're going to be looking at is what is web-based social cognition. And what this is it has to do with the technology advancement over the past 20 years. Social interaction has changed in varying cultures. Web-based cognition is one of the examples of how individuals interact through technology, which over the last 20 years, technology has advanced so much and is so greatly advanced that it's amazing at what you can do with all of it. Exploring the Human Conditions defines web-based social cognition as the growing use of technology has led to increased research exploring the manner in which various social psychological phenomena are enhanced in the cyber world. That's the Bates 2012. And one of the most important questions you can ask is, how does this cyber interaction affect one's ability to make first impressions? First impressions is a main thing that catches people's attentions, even at the very first chance that you see someone at the first glance. So what we're going to do is look at how culture relates to our perceptions of others and ourselves. Exploring Human Condition explains it this way. Cultural groups can perpetuate certain beliefs, and this information accumulates over time. Thus, the information that different cultures foster can lead to different beliefs and behaviors because others in the social environment have them. Every culture has its own set of norms and behaviors that is accepted by people that live in those areas, which makes it hard to understand others. If you go to a new place and just sit and watch for a while, you'll see this take place. People have a tendency to also adapt to the area that they live in, as well as pick up on some of these other traits that are there in these areas that are exhibited. After living in a certain culture for a while, it can seem odd to see people with other different culture norms. So even if you've moved off to a different country and come back later, even a different part of the United States and come back to where you're from, when you see this take place, you sit there and go, well, that's a little bit odd. So let's discuss whether or not these perceptions vary across cultures. Exploring Human Condition describes how some perceptions across culture have thrived through time. All cultures use social exchange and cooperation. Examples are favors between friends, giving gifts, and different things such as this, between two or more individuals for mutual benefits. That's the Bates 2012 also. A perfect example of this is how you treat people if you live in the southern part of the United States versus if you treat people living in the Midwest. People in the southern part are raised with it's polite to open doors for others, to hold doors for others, to greet others when you see them. In the Midwest, that's not quite the case. You don't always hold the doors open in all places for others. You don't stand there and wait for someone to come out of the store, go into the store, and just wait and hold the door for them, because they're well capable of doing that themselves in some places. All cultures have perceptions based on ideas passed down through history, such as how you greet someone, or politeness, or whether you speak to a stranger or you just stand there and watch them. In some places, you just watch them instead of saying anything to them. So we're going to compare and contrast some key differences between American culture and Japanese culture. American culture, what you find in religion is a mixture with Christianity being the most dominant religion. Your culture overall in general is just more relaxed. Your political participation is more encouraged. Eating in public is acceptable. Racial demographics is very diverse. Greeting, you greet people by shaking their hands. Family groups usually live independent of each other. Personal space, not very much is given. And gender roles, anyone can basically do anything they want. Whereas Japanese culture, religion is Shinto, Buddhist, or both at the same time. Culture is a more formal culture in general. Political participation is less intense. Eating in public is impolite. Racial demographics is predominantly Japanese. They greet each other by bowing. The family living, adults live with their parents most likely for life. Personal space is something considered sacred. And gender roles is very strict. They have set guidelines for what is acceptable for each gender. Some things that surprised me about this culture as I was learning more about it is the political participation being less intense. Here, there's a lot of high pressure on getting people to get out and vote and be involved in politics. Eating in public there is considered impolite. Here, people eat anywhere they please, doing whatever they please. And then the religion being both Shinto and Buddhist at the same time is a little odd. It would be like me being Baptist but yet Catholic at the exact same time, including both things. Has this research changed my participation, or my perception rather, sorry about that, or previous impression about Japanese culture? It's changed drastically, and I find the difference interesting. I find the fact that eating in public is not permitted there. I find the fact that you can be two religions at the same time and participate in both very interesting. I find it very respectful and very more formal, and I think that could be beneficial in ways as well. As far as references, Sabates, 2012, Social Psychology in a Christian Perspective and Exploring the Human Conditions is what I referenced throughout this. I hope you enjoyed and appreciated this presentation and you learned a little bit about Japanese culture as well. So thank you for everything that you've done.